Hey, what's going on, everyone? This is Mitch. Good Wednesday morning to you all. Hope you guys are waking up, feeling great out there this morning and having a fantastic start to your day. And I hope you all have been having a great week out there so far. Here to give you an update on what's going to happen weather-wise for your Thanksgiving Eve. We know tomorrow is Thanksgiving, and we know a lot of people will be doing some last-second traveling for today, whether you're heading to grandma's house, the in-laws. Someone's probably heading somewhere. Maybe you're just going to work, but we're here to figure it out for you folks, talk about what we're going to see, and break it all down for you guys in great detail. So we still have lingering moisture in the eastern U.S. We have some heavy snow falling in the interior Northeast. If you live in the interior Northeast or anywhere in the Northeast, please let me know how much snow you saw last night. I would love to know. I would love to be tagged in some pictures. I'm a little behind on my social media, especially Facebook. I know more people have Facebook rather than Twitter, X, or whatever it's called these days. So I'm typically a lot more active on that app rather than Facebook. So if you do tag me and stuff, send me some messages. Trust me, I will see them. Just hadn't had the chance to really look at them. But definitely let me know what you guys are seeing out there, what you guys saw overnight. And we definitely got a big storm system about to head across the Rockies, bring a lot of areas of white Thanksgiving, almost said white Christmas, but a white Thanksgiving, and even some heavy snow into the day after Thanksgiving to this weekend, maybe across the high plains. So we got some things to figure out, some active times ahead, and a couple things to figure out for you folks. So if you guys have not subscribed, certainly consider doing that. Like the video if you like it, and if you folks got anything that I can pray about or pray over, as you guys know, please put those in the comments below. It gives me an opportunity to pray over it, and it gives others an opportunity to do so too. So let's get rocking this morning. So this thing is working. We're good to go. So you see all the white in this area streaming across the southeast into sections of the northeast. That is where there's a lot of moisture in the atmosphere. And in a lot of these areas, rain is falling. Not everywhere. Just because you see white on your screen does not mean that rain is falling, but a lot of times it does. So we have a lot of moisture in the atmosphere, a lot of heavy rain falling in the eastern sections of the Carolinas, eastern Georgia, even some rain streaming across the Panhandle in the northern sections of Florida. And this is in the form of snow up here in Maine. Now, in this portion of the country, a little bit more dry air. The moisture has cleared out from this upper trough with the associated weaker cold front with it. So pretty calm conditions this morning in the area that I made the check mark and everybody around it. And then we have a streamer moving in, and some moisture beginning to make its way in from the Pacific across the northern Rockies, the Pacific Northwest. And we do have this ridge set up, and then it kind of buckles down like this. And then you see the upper trough right here, which is digging across areas of the mid-south. But, ridge of high pressure right here over the western U.S. Now, this pattern is changing. So we'll see what this means as we watch this storm system that will ride across the Rockies, bringing some heavy snow for, Montana, eastern Idaho, Wyoming, Colorado, even eventually into areas of like western Kansas, western Nebraska, maybe the Panhandle of Oklahoma and Texas. So northern New Mexico. So we got some things to figure out with that. We got very detailed in that for that storm system in last night's video. We'll continue to try to figure it out for you folks in the later videos, but we'll talk a little bit about it at the end of this video for you folks who are interested out there. But as far as the radar and what's falling, there's that moisture already beginning to enter the picture for you folks in the Pacific Northwest and the northern Rockies. It's raining in areas of northern Idaho, areas of northwest Montana, eastern Washington, and then northern Oregon. Some higher elevation snow is falling. We will have a cold front associated with this moisture eventually. This will allow for snow to fall even in the lower elevations and areas of the northern Rockies and, like I said, Montana, Wyoming, Colorado. Now, if you look all the way in the eastern U.S., we are still dealing with this rain across eastern sections of the Carolinas, southeast Georgia, some rain still falling in northern Florida, and then just a washout of a Wednesday morning for Boston, and heavy snow falling up here in Maine. Definitely getting a pretty decent, even for you folks' standards, I would say, snow event where several inches of snow is falling. It looks like some of these areas that were snow last night in western Mass, maybe waking up to some cold rain this morning. But let me know what you guys saw overnight. I would love to know who has snow, who doesn't. Definitely let me know. I always love hearing about the snow. You folks should probably know that by now. But the middle of the country, it's pretty quiet. So I really think there'll be smooth sailing for any travels across the middle of the country, the Southwest, And I mean, even in the eastern U.S., a lot of this rain's clearing out. So if you're traveling through West Virginia, Pennsylvania, Kentucky, Tennessee, even down to the deep south, I think conditions will be pretty calm today. Not a whole lot going on as the system's already pushed through. So here we go. We get 2 sneezes this week. It's weird. I don't sneeze throughout the entire rest of the day unless I'm sick, and I'm not sick. So it's like my sinuses just try to flare up during the video. It's kind of weird. But anyways, speaking of the severe weather today, just a marginal risk for eastern areas of North Carolina. So just a level 1 out of 5 risk. We could have some severe weather that flares up for the eastern sections of North Carolina today. But, honestly, I don't think this is going to be a huge deal today, but there is a 2% risk of a tornado within 25 miles in any given location and basically the coastal plains of North Carolina for today. So be aware if you're traveling, the Outer Banks, the extreme eastern sections of North Carolina, you guys could certainly see a very small tornado threat and a very small severe weather risk today. The excessive rainfall outlook, everything is below a 5% risk. So, there's not really a huge threat for any kind of flash flooding today. There really hasn't been over the last few days. We picked up a lot of rain over the last 24 hours at my location here in central South Carolina. We have definitely been lucky with the rain. We've picked up over 2.5 inches of rain. So let me know how much rain you guys have seen out there. I know not everybody has, weather stations or anything like that. It's a great investment. Even if you have just a little bit of an interest in the weather, it's a great thing to have. It really is. But anyways, below 5% risk, not a big deal out there. Watches, warnings, advisories. Winter weather advisors will continue throughout the day today, where snow continues to fall, maybe a little bit of ice mixing in, some freezing rain. So, a few to maybe several inches of snow possible today. But of course, the criteria for a winter storm warning is much higher up here in Maine, New Hampshire, Vermont, northern sections of New York, just because you're further north. So, an inch or 2 of snow for like my area, my neck of the woods here in Columbia, South Carolina, that completely warrants a winter storm warning. So I know you guys up north are saying that's pathetic, Mitch, but we'll drop the winter storm warning in a heartbeat, and I'm here for it. I love it. But winter storm watch up for the teal color right here and Wyoming. And check out a few counties in southwest South Dakota and western Nebraska. This could be a decent winter storm for areas of western Nebraska. And I think this will get extended well down into Colorado here in the next 12 to 24 hours. Winter weather advisories up for this mammoth of a county here in northern Nevada. Man, this county's like the size of half of South Carolina. It's pretty wild. All these counties in Idaho, Montana, where you have the purple color, all the way down into northern Utah. You guys have winter weather advisories for some snow coming up over the next day or so. But I expect these to get upgraded to winter storm warnings. Maybe we'll get a blizzard warning. We have to watch out for that. But yeah, this is going to be a big event if you're making any last-second traveling plans on actual Thanksgiving. So definitely some folks will see a white Thanksgiving or a white day after Thanksgiving. So this is watches, warnings, advisories. Just take a look at the weather for the southeast today. Still dealing with some rain in central South Carolina, North Carolina, and eastern Georgia. This will continue to clear out, but the rain will really slow its progression from west to east. It'll really just kind of, it's not going to be working very quickly. So these areas in the eastern Carolinas, even southeast Virginia, will pick up a lot of rain pretty quick today as this moves through. But by the time we get into this afternoon, I think most of the severe weather threat, heavy rain threat, moves on off the coastline. We could I cannot speak this morning. Still be dealing with some showers down here in Florida throughout the afternoon, but no real washout this afternoon for Florida. But behind this, some lingering moisture could get going in the upstate, the PD of South Carolina, the Piedmont of North Carolina. So your rain chances are completely zero after the rain this morning in these areas. You could have some more showers that kind of works its way throughout the Carolinas a little bit later this afternoon to this evening. But by the time we get into the overnight hours and waking up for our Thanksgiving morning, I think for most of the southeast, it's pretty quiet, at least in the morning. We have to watch this area of moisture that begins to bubble up into the coastal sections of southeast Texas and Louisiana, but won't speak on that quite right now. But a little bit closer look at this moisture. As you can tell, I mean, we could get some big time thunderstorms in the Wilmington area on up the coastline of North Carolina, some heavy rain in the Norfolk area, Myrtle Beach, Charleston. You guys are going to be dealing with the heavy rain throughout the morning hours all the way through about early afternoon, and there's those showers that could develop and kind of trail behind this moisture and then kind of just make their way throughout the afternoon and evening, and could get some flurries in the higher elevations of North Carolina, Tennessee overnight tonight. It's very possible some flurries flying around. So we'll see what happens with that. But I mean, rainfall between now and the next 24 hours, guys. I mean, yeah, I mean, you guys, 1 to 2 inches of rain, especially in eastern North Carolina. So a lot of rain could fall pretty quickly today throughout the morning hours and the early afternoon hours. So the Northeast today, a good bit of snow will fall throughout the entire day in Vermont and New Hampshire. Of course, you need to be in these higher elevations, probably northern sections of the state. And I really think the coastal regions of Maine stays completely rain throughout the entire period for the most part. You make your way about an hour or two inland into Maine, it starts to change to heavy wet snow. But this will continue throughout the morning hours, throughout about midday. And this actual low pressure will try to deepen. And this means in response, you'll have heavier moisture that gets kind of slung into the down east areas of Maine. You could switch to a period of heavy snow all the way down to the coast of Maine and down east areas of Maine. But this could be some very heavy snow that falls right here in this area of Maine, well south of Caribou. A little bit later this afternoon, you guys could get a lot of heavy snow very quickly before this system pulls out and before you switch to maybe some rain with this low pressure getting very close. But yeah, this moves on through, and by the time waking up for our Thanksgiving morning, could be dealing with some rain showers, maybe even some rain snow mix off the shoreline of Lake Ontario, but not a big deal at all. But snow between now and the next 24 hours, right in the heart of Maine, half a foot of snow, of additional snow could fall. And we'll watch this little area right here in Maine. You guys could pick up a lot of snow pretty quick later this afternoon. But yeah, pretty decent snow event for the day before Thanksgiving Eve for you folks in Maine. So please be careful traveling up through the northern terrain of Maine. It definitely is going to be wintry, that's for sure. The south central U.S., it's a quiet day today. Enjoy it. You're traveling across this portion of the country. There won't be any issues. Now, traveling back home, that could be, a different story. But traveling, to somewhere for Thanksgiving across the south central southern areas of the country, man, it's pretty quiet today. There's not a whole lot going on. Some moisture will begin to bubble up. Dang, that was weird. Bubble up down here in the southern sections of Texas as you're waking up tomorrow morning. So you're probably waking up to a soggy start down here in South Texas for your Thanksgiving morning. But nothing overly concerning, just kind of a rainy, damp morning. North central U.S., sort of the same deal, guys. I mean, you could have some snow that makes its way into northwest or North Dakota a little bit later today. Maybe a little bit of light snowfall accumulation is possible. Some snow flurries can make their way all the way to central North Dakota. And we could get some snow shower activity later on tonight to the wee hours in the morning in areas of the UP and Michigan. Very possible, not going to add up to much. But as we're waking up for our Thanksgiving morning, it's pretty quiet for the most part. You can already see kind of the beginning stages of our system about to move into the northern plains. But speaking of the western U.S. and the northern plains and the Rockies, today, it's just the beginning stages of this system. It's not going to be super active. We're dealing with some rain this morning in western sections of Oregon and Washington. Some moisture certainly falling in northern Idaho, kind of these areas we just mentioned at the beginning of the video. As we make our way into about, early afternoon, lunchtime period, some snow will continue to fall and kind of skirt itself a little bit south along the border of Montana and Idaho. And this continues, and then we will watch the enhancement of moisture as we're waking up Thanksgiving morning. And guys, I mean, I think, what is it, Idaho Falls, I believe. These areas right here, even in the lower elevations of Idaho, that's why you got the winter weather advisory in this huge county in Nevada. I'm not sure what that county is called. I don't pretend to know every single county in the U.S., but yeah, guys, some heavy snow could be falling for your Thanksgiving morning up here in northern Nevada, eastern and southeastern Idaho. Snow, a little bit of snow falling in western Montana, and then heavy snow falling in northern Wyoming. It's going to be a very snowy Thanksgiving for the state of Wyoming. It's going to be a white Thanksgiving for sure. But you continue to, move this a little bit deeper into the period. We're getting deeper into tomorrow, moving into tomorrow's forecast and getting outside of today's. But anyways, this snowstorm begins to take over most of the state, and eventually this begins to make its way into Colorado and deeper into Utah and even into western Nebraska. So snow will be oozing in from the north to the south. So definitely be careful. Like I said, if you're traveling across this region of the country, especially later on tonight, but just between now and the next 24 hours, guys, not a whole lot of snow will add up, but this snow will be adding up for tomorrow morning at the beginning of this period. But this is just snowfall accumulation between now and the next 24 hours. We'll talk about the entire event here in a second. We got very detailed on it last night. Temperatures today, it'll be into the 60s for the coastal regions of the southeast. I mean, we'll hit 80 in Miami, but, once you get along the Appalachian Mountains in the deep south and, points west and east and points west and north, I mean, it's a chilly day for your Thanksgiving Eve. Some chilly travels. Definitely bring a coat. 40s for highs, just low 50s. Northeast, you're thawing out. You probably get some snow melting if you got any. This is definitely going to be a heavy, wet snow for Maine. Just temperatures hanging around kind of the upper 20s, low 30s. A chilly day across the upper Midwest. But listen, I mean, if you're in the plains, guys, I mean, Denver will try to hit 70 today. And this happens a lot. This is not uncommon. This is not rare. Nothing abnormal about this at all. And you folks in Denver can attest to this. But it will hit 70 degrees probably just about in the Denver area and eastern Colorado, upper 60s, low 70s. I mean, same thing for, western sections of Kansas and western Nebraska. It'll get very warm today ahead of the snow that moves in later on tomorrow night into Friday. So this happens a lot, right before a big-time change of the air mass, and typically it's associated with some sort of storm system, and in this case, it will be snow. So get out, enjoy the warm weather in the high plains today and the Front Range, and because maybe some wintry times definitely coming. Maybe not maybe, but it's likely for a lot of these areas that are getting into the 60s and 70s today. You're in the 60s and 70s in eastern Colorado today. 2 or 3 days from now, you will have snow cover on the ground. So pretty wild stuff, but, not overly cold in the western U.S., but most areas are still below average. But, giving you a quick update on this winter weather for the Rockies. And like I said, I got very detailed on it in last night's video, but we'll start off where we left off for the western U.S. forecast a couple panels ago. But this is the European. Like I said, the snow overspreads the state of Wyoming, still snowing in southern areas of Montana. Snow is falling in a lot of Utah. I mean, even Salt Lake City seeing some snow. Even eastern areas of Nevada still snowing in southeast Idaho. And then we start to get into our Friday morning. This is when snow is still falling heavily in areas of central and southern Wyoming. Snow is beginning to fall at a pretty heavy clip in western Nebraska. All of Colorado seeing snow at this point. Denver, even eastern Colorado, outside those really high elevations of the Rockies. And, you keep this going, and this lasts throughout Friday. We're waking up Saturday morning, still snowing pretty good, especially for southern Colorado, northern New Mexico. And look at the snow starting to show up for the panhandle of Texas and Oklahoma, snowing in western areas of Kansas, certainly in Nebraska. This is not let up from last night's video. Okay, so this is going to be interesting. We go on and switch it to the central U.S., and here's the snow. And I mean, we got a pretty heavy area of snow setting up for western and central Kansas as we're getting into our Saturday. Panhandle of Oklahoma getting accumulating snow from this too. We're starting to make our way into Sunday morning, and even an area of light to moderate snow for areas of Missouri. Snow starting to move into Illinois. Range trying to turn to snow, a little brief period of snow in maybe Oklahoma City. Okay, and then we'll watch to see what this system does as it kind of moves across the Great Lakes region in the Midwest. So, as far as how much snow we can get from this only goes out to Saturday morning, and there's a weird little glitch over southeast Colorado just because the National Weather Service does not agree with one another. But this is going to be a doozy of a snowstorm for Wyoming, especially the heart of Wyoming, these higher elevations. I mean, even in the sections of southeast Wyoming, yeah, I mean, there's going to be brief periods of blizzard conditions for your Thanksgiving. So I'll be interested to see if they upgrade any of these winter storm watches to blizzard warnings. They will certainly get upgraded to winter storm warnings. But I mean, look how much snow they're predicting for western Nebraska. And we'll look at the blend of all models here because it goes out further. And yeah, guys, I mean, a lot of snow. I mean, look at you folks here in Kansas, Panhandle of Oklahoma, the blend of all models going for a pretty hefty amount, guys. Denver. So we'll watch this forecast. This is a big time winter storm for these areas, right in time for Thanksgiving and the day after Thanksgiving, even into our Saturday. So I feel like this hasn't been talked about a whole lot throughout the country, but I mean, big time winter storm for you folks. So I already mentioned this in last night's video, but cooler times are ahead, guys, for the central and eastern U.S. It's the November 27th to December 1st time frame. And, you know, I kind of mentioned in last night's video, I wasn't seeing any big signals for storm systems, but, you know, the models last night started showing some interesting things. So with an active storm track to the south, models have the chance to flip on the dime. So it's something to watch for, guys, and we will continue to try to figure this out. But there is a time period I'm really watching the last couple of days in November, first couple of days of December. And, you know, with just cold air kind of oozing down, active storm track, we need to watch some things, guys. But that's all I got, folks. So sorry for the tongue twisters and the mix up with words. Just a little sloppy this morning, but we'll get it right. God bless all y'all. Stay safe traveling today if you are. Have a fantastic day, whatever you may be doing. And I'll be with you guys again soon.